What is up, everybody? Skratch coming up with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Welcome to the channel, everyone. We are currently on the test server. We're gonna have a look at the brand new Pythion. Definitely an awesome champion. If you have the resources available to do the fusion, definitely don't skip on it and try to save your shards and everything for the events. The fusion should be starting tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, or the day after. So the champion that we are talking about, guys, is Pythion, the new Lizardman support champion. Awesome reviver. He's definitely gonna be able to carry your team through pretty much every content in the game. The base stats are very solid: 21,000 HP, 1,300 defense, 105 speed, starts with 50 resistance, so the base stats are definitely not a joke, making the champion very, very nice. The skills: with the A1, attacks one enemy 2 times, heals the ally with the lowest HP by 5% of this champion's max HP. The higher the HP, the better the heal. The A2 removes all debuffs from all allies, then heals them by 10% of their max HP. Heals each ally by an extra 5% of their max HP for each debuff removed from them. Also, places a block debuffs buff on all allies for 2 turns. This will be on a 3-turn cooldown. I haven't booked it just yet, but we are gonna do it together. Basically, if you wanna get the most out of this champion, you gotta throw in the books. And that's because it's all about cooldowns, right? Cooldowns are very, very important. If you wanna synergize your clan boss team with block debuffs clans on a 3-turn cooldown, he needs the books. That will actually allow you to use this champion on many, many teams in clan boss, because they're not many champions in the game that do clans and block debuffs on a 3-turn cooldown. We have Cardiel, we have Elva, we have Raiho Bone Spear, and I don't think there's any other champion to do it. Yes, they are champions that clans on a 3-turn cooldown, but that's not what we're talking about here. Clans and block debuffs on the same skill. The A3 needs the books as well, because if not, it's going to be a 7-turn cooldown, but fully booked goes down to a 4-turn cooldown. Revives all dead allies with 50% HP and 50% turn meter, then places a strengthen buff on all allies for 2 turns. We're going to test out how this skill works, if he's actually going to attempt to revive when there are no dead allies, just to buff with strengthen or no, kind of like what Mighty Uko does. The passive: allies receive 5% less damage from skills for each buff on them. Stacks up to 25%. Now, of course, this skill can be extremely powerful in a clan boss, extremely powerful in some dungeons where you need to have damage reduction. You need to have other champions that buff as well. So this champion on his own, he's not going to bring a lot of buffs. So you need to synergize the champion with other champions that will manage to bring in different buffs, like increased defense. Maybe you want to have a shield next to it, an ally protection, or increased speed, or other sort of buffs that will actually fill up the buff bar to 5 to have a full 25% damage reduction. It's kind of like having a strengthen buff on all time if this passive is working. Then we have a 60 resistance in all battles. Now, I have my Pythion built right now on a Stalwart and an Immortal set. Like, this is gonna work all around, including for dungeons, including for clan boss. I haven't went crazy on the speeds. I haven't built him for PvP. One thing that I do want to mention about this champion in arena, guys, especially for the very high-end arena, you will need to have resistance if you want this champion to work. So if your team doesn't have resistance and gets locked by warlords or other champions like that, his passive is not really gonna come in play unless you have buffs on. So a bolster set will do it, because he's always there for 3 turns and it can be removed. That's a buff guaranteed. Maybe have like a blood shield accessory too, that will give you an extra buff on the champions. Preferably have it at least on this champion to carry the team, and you're gonna have to manage to bring other buffs. Now, for the normal arena, the rest of the tiers, is definitely gonna be an awesome support champion. Like, if you think that Ultimate Death Knight was hard to kill before, well, add a Pythion next to that Ultimate Death Knight and see how powerful your arena team will become, and your 3v3 arena, if you're struggling with having support champions for one of your teams, Pythion will definitely change the game there as well. So all around a very, very powerful champion. The total stats that I have on him: 84,000 HP, 4.2k defense, 200 speed. I have a one for crit rate, crit damage, 327 resistance, enough to work for the standard dungeons. Masteries, I went with offense and defense 3 because we're gonna try him in clan boss, so I went with Ward Master. If I would use him for arena, I would completely change the defense and the support tree, but we're gonna do an arena build in just a second, so I'm gonna show you how to build a champion and masteries. First, we're gonna have a look at dungeons, we're gonna have a look at clan boss. Now, talking about books, I haven't booked the champion just yet. I could try the champion without books to show you guys what the champion can do, but it's gonna do the exact same thing just with a shorter cooldown, so it's not really gonna be a huge difference to impress with books or without. Of course, how I mentioned, this champion is dependable of books because of cooldowns, which are so important, right? What you can try and do is put 3 books like this, go on this skill, hit it, you might get lucky, you might not, and just slowly try to get it booked. Maybe even skill tome by skill tome, that will allow you maybe. So we managed to book 1. We managed to get in there. Maybe we can save some books. Seems like we managed to do it. Pretty nice. So we managed to save 2 books for the purpose of the video, and because I'm on the test server and I have plenty of books, I'm gonna fully book the champion, because why not? We want to see a fully maxed one. So the champion is fully booked. We have 3 turn cooldown, 4 turn cooldown. Sounds very nice. Let's have a quick look at a dungeon. So if we're gonna go on dragon, and we're gonna have something like this. So this champion will carry our team, guys. Will revive enough and will just give us what we need in order to succeed. We're gonna get some healing as well with the A2, especially if we have a lot of debuffs on us. The more debuffs on the team, the more healing we're gonna get with that skill as well. How you guys noticed already, the champion will not use the A3 unless you have dead allies. So he's not doing it like Mighty Uko, where he's gonna attempt to revive your team if they're actually not dead. So he's not gonna buff the strengthen. He's only gonna attempt to revive if you have dead allies, which is amazing, especially for arena. It's very powerful. And just generally, you don't want the champions to waste their main skills, especially the revive ones, when they're not needed, you know. So we have the block debuffs there, the cleanse comes in handy, pretty nice. The healing can actually be much better if we're getting a lot of debuffs on, you know. Because when we're cleansing, is increasing the heal by 5% for each debuff removed. So that could potentially be a heal on a back to full HP, sorry. But here we are. The A1 heals pretty nice. How you guys saw right there, we got 10k heal on Elhain because she was the lowest HP. And bang, pretty straightforward. We got a 219,000 heal from Pythion here, guys. 156k damage. That's because of Ward Master. Of course, it carried the rest of the team. We can use the champion if needed on the Fire Knight. So let me put a Fire Knight team together to see how we're performing there. We've made our Fire Knight team. Let's take them in for a spin. I don't want to have too much crazy DPS because the waves will just get melted and then it's not really going to show how the fusion can carry your team, you know. Even though like this, I do have a few stun sets. I have a stun set on KL because that's how I'm using him. Soulbound as a stun set as well, you know, and it might stop the waves from killing my champions, you know. Most probably. Stun sets are just so good, you know. If you're looking for wave control, definitely the right thing, you know. It seems like the waves are not that smart anymore either. Like they used to attack the same target, the weakest target, but it seems like now they're doing it a bit differently, you know. We got the heal in back. The A1 heals actually pretty nice because it's based on the Fusion's champion's HP, which can be huge for the rest of your team. Like my KL or the other champions, they only have like 30,000 HP. So healing them from their own their own HP by 10%. It's only like 3,000, 4,000, so it's not gonna be that amazing. But when it's 10% of the Fusion's champion's HP, is like 8,000, or if you have him at 100k HP, it's gonna be 10,000 with the A1, and that is very, very nasty. That's a lot of healing. Bang! Fire Knight went down. Pythion 280k heal here as well. Let's go over to the clan boss. So if we're gonna take him in for a spin on the clan boss, guys, now you can use him just as a cleanser to deal with the stun. You can use him to deal with the stun and to deal with the affinity problem, so the decreased speed. If you're gonna make him the fastest in your team, have him to cleanse on the stun. Literally, as he takes his stun, he's gonna remove the decreased speed on spirit, and he's gonna put block debuffs, so the stun is gonna be safe as well. Or it really depends whatever affinity, you know, like decrease accuracy or decrease attack. He's gonna make it affinity friendly, and it's gonna deal with the stun. Right here, I just have a classic 1-to-1 ratio team. We're just gonna see how he performs in the clan boss. I haven't really built the team around him. I haven't really perfected the team to go and destroy the clan boss, because that's not what I'm trying to do. You can use this champion in many teams. How I mentioned, there are only 3 other champions in the entire game that have clans and block debuffs on the same skill, which is huge. So let's crack on it. You're probably gonna have to manual the champion for an extra turn, because if no, it's just not gonna work out how you would want it to work out. It's just the AI, is nothing that you can do about it. We gotta delay the skill another turn, so we're not gonna use the A2. You have the revive. The strengthen doesn't work only if you have dead allies, you know. That's another thing to keep in mind. So we delayed that. Let's just say this was spirit. We were gonna get decreased speed. If I would have made him the faster instead of Sunless Survivor, I would have had decrease the cleanse, sorry. Decreased speed would have been gone, and I have block debuffs, and I'm covered for the stun, how you guys can see. And that's pretty much how it goes on from here on. Pretty spot on, I would say. I'm not expecting the champion to deal massive damage, honestly. It could potentially do something, but if seen there with just crit is 7,000 per hit, 9,000 per hit. We do have War Master, which will actually allow us to heal the champion from Leech, because that's why we have Verself in here. We have ally protection, increased defense, we have Leech, and then the fusion champion will help us with the healing when it's removing the buffs that are getting landed by the clan boss before the stun. That gives us an extra 5% on the healing, in case if we're not proccing War Master on the Leech to get more heals in, and the A1 will actually support us a bit as well, you know. You see, I only have a raw damage. I don't really have any poisoners in here or anything crazy. I haven't worked in creating a supreme clan boss team just to see what we can do, because how I mentioned, we already know what the champion can do just by reading the kit. It's pretty straightforward, you know. So if you need a cleanser in your team, it's definitely gonna be great to do that job. Of course, it's not gonna be able to deal damage, how I mentioned, you know. So I'm gonna fast forward a bit towards the end of the run, guys. We're gonna see if the team will work a bit longer once they start dying, and the champion will start to revive them. We're gonna see how that plays out, and kind of like to see what sort of results we're gonna achieve at the end with this. So we passed turn 50, guys, and we passed the unkillable teams. The damage is not that great because we don't really have any poisoners or anything crazy in there. We just have a bit of raw damage from Tyrell, and the rest of the champions are built for a bit of damage, but nothing crazy. The champion actually brings quite a bit of damage reduction with that passive, because we have 4-5 buffs up all the time on the team, you know. So he's definitely doing a pretty good job. I'm curious to see how far he's gonna carry us from here, you know. Actually, we can't revive anymore because the revive is blocked as well from the passive of the clan boss. I actually had no idea that the regular revive was actually blocked at turn 50 on clan boss. I thought that was just revive on that. I had no idea that a normal revive was blocked. I've never actually looked into it. But funny enough, you can now revive past turn 50. So if the champion will attempt to revive before that, you're gonna be pretty spot on with it. He actually healed for 1,730,000, which is definitely pretty nice. The damage is nothing too crazy. We managed to get a 2-key team here, which, yeah, you probably would expect a bit more with Valkyrie in the team. But considering what else we have in the team and no real solid damage, I think the damage is actually pretty good all around. I'm quickly going to change the build on the champion for Arena. Right, so we changed the build on him, guys. We went with the full stone skin set, 6 pieces, and we went with some resistance. Mainly because we don't want his A2 to get locked, his A3 to get locked, and we're going to be able to use him in like go second teams as well. It's going to be massive for tag team Arena. Like, it's not like 2 years ago when you used to say, force champions are super powerful in defense because, hey, it's just Tranda doing the work in offense. Now we have actually a lot of strong void nukers in the game, so affinity won't really benefit the champion anymore for the high-end Arena. But when you're looking at progression, pairing him with an ultimate Death Knight and a few other champions out there, he's actually going to be great, and especially for tag team Arena, you know. So total stats on him, we have 92,000 HP. I would like the HP to be a bit higher. 3.6k defense, 200 speed, 685 resistance. We haven't changed the masteries yet, okay? So once we're going to change the masteries, we're going to be able to get 50 more resistance. But this is the weapon that we have on. This is the helmet. You see, everything is prioritized on resistance. This is the shield. The gloves, funny enough, they have no resistance at all. Resistance chest piece. We have a HP boots with speed and resistance. I actually kept the blood shield accessory on him. I'm really debating in maybe using a reaction instead, but that can actually benefit the champion quite a bit because of an extra buff. Then we have the amulet, and I have a resistance banner to no defense percentage, unfortunately, on that. So we prioritize quite a bit of resistance. Masteries, we can definitely change that. And now we can go on Steadfast, Lay of Hands. We can potentially go on a Rapid Response, or we can go on Healing Savior, but one or the other. I'm gonna go on a Cycle of Magic, and I'm actually gonna get Lord of Steel too. And right here, I'm gonna go for Lasting Gifts. Then I'm gonna go for Defiant. Now, the whole thing here is either you go and reduce the AoE attacks. Some people will be like, well, I like to have the 8% when it's a crit hit. Yeah, but a lot of time people will hit on reaction, so the first one is not gonna be a crit hit. You have the stone skin, so it's kind of like hard to justify, but it really depends bio build. For this build, we're gonna go with Improved Para instead. We're gonna go with Rejuvenation. We're gonna go Resurgent. We're gonna go with Shadow Heal. We're actually gonna go right here with Delayed Death. We're gonna get Retribution. And depending on what sort of blessing you guys are getting, what sort of build you guys have, if you're going for a polymorph as a blessing, definitely go on with the Fearsome Presence. That will increase the chance to place ship because of the mastery. But because we have resistance, we're gonna go for Unshakable. We're gaining 50% extra resistance. And we can go either with Spirit Haste, either we can go with Cycle of Revenge. And like this, we should be pretty spot on. 154,000 power. We managed to get 750 resistance right now on the champion with the masteries, and of course with the gear set that we have on. That's how my Pythion looks, guys. Let's take him in for a spin in Arena. We're gonna do a couple of fights. It's gonna be hard to kind of like showcase him in Arena, honestly, because you need people to have offensive teams or anything like that. If you are planning to use him on go second teams, you definitely want to use him with champions that don't require increased attack, because unlike Duchess, this champion won't provide you with increased attack, and that's definitely a very, very important thing to keep in mind. We're going to try to kind of like see offensive teams. This one right here is actually one of them, pretty spot on. So we're going to be able to go in like that, and we're actually gonna change that out. We have enough resistance in here. We're gonna put in Another very popular champion that people are using in Arena at the moment. We're kind of like trying to replicate an Arena defense team, you know? So let's actually do that. Let's just do that. I don't think my Duchess has the gear now to bring in another Reviver in there. But we're gonna bring in Harima instead, because she's gonna help us a bit too. And she's gonna deal some damage next to them more too. And we just need another champion. So we can bring Mighty Uko. Where is Mighty Uko? Let me just find it quick. And hopefully I have gear on Uko here. I can't remember, honestly. Where are we? I feel like they copied the test server before I even managed to build the champions and stuff. So we cannot use that, but we're going to try to bring in another support champion. Let's see what we have available. So we're not going to bring in Duchess. We're going to see what other things we have available in here. Maybe an Ursaga. That would do it, yeah. An Ursaga would do it. And we can actually go in like that. So that would be, in a way or another, a defense team that you're going to encounter or you can create. My ultimate Death Knight is not built for Arena, guys, because I'm using him in Hydra. But let's see if we manage to survive this. Like, we have a strong nuke in there, buff strip, we have increased cooldowns. I'm not even sure if they managed to increase the cooldowns of my skills. No, they haven't, because of the resistance. Nice. We lost Harima. Bang, more to drop that block revive on their DPS. So from here on, it's gonna be a painful fight for them. We got the revive because Warlord is not blocking our cooldowns, because we have that resistance. We have some buffs on, which will definitely help us a bit. We got the cleanse in there, so Harima is spot on again. Another peril from Mortuma Cup. That's something that you will see in the higher end arena. How I mentioned, use whatever champions you have available, but you can definitely create a much better defensive team for your tag team arena or classic arena if you were lacking some of the best support champions in the game before. Pythion is definitely going to be spot on with the revive. Just give him the right build and he's going to do an amazing job, you know. And there we go, 1 minute and 4 seconds. We actually managed to win the fight as well. So if Cold Brew would have chose to attack me with that team, he locked with Warlord, he had Kymar to reset, the Nuker, which was soulless, increased defense. So it's actually a pretty solid offense team. Then my team would have actually wrecked Cold Brew, or not Cold Brew, just as an idea. And you can create tons of different things. When we are talking about support champions, it's much harder to showcase them in videos and stuff, but just play around with the champion for the next few weeks and you're going to be able to create tons of different teams that will actually benefit your account. That was all for this video. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think of the new Fusion champion? Are you going to go for the Fusion? You're going to skip it? Appreciate all of you guys watching. Much love, and I'll catch you all soon in the next one. Peace.